All right, so plantaris is one of the superficial muscles of the leg. It's got a very, very thin, small, short muscle belly right in the, the crease of the knee, and then a very, very long, thin tendon. So actually it's the longest tendon of the body. So that, that's the kind of factoid that perhaps would get pulled out on your licensing exam. So what do you suspect about the strength of plantaris, given that it's got a very thin, short muscle belly?
Weak?
Yeah, it's weak. Yeah, I'm hearing multiple people say it's weak. Yeah, so it's not a very strong, you literally have as much strength from a muscle as how many muscle fibers there are. And so a little short, not many fibers is going to be a weak muscle. Why do you suspect it even exists if it's so short it barely does its job?
For support, maybe?
Maybe, yeah, that's a possibility. These little muscles that don't really seem to do their job are also possibly sort of, I'm sorry, what?
Synergists?
Yeah, I mean, they are synergists, yep. But when they're so small, they're barely doing their job. It is, theorized that they're sort of remnants from evolution, that other animals whose bodies are positioned differently in gravity and move differently would have sort of a different arrangement of that muscle. And this is one of those muscles that not everybody has. About 10% of people do not have this muscle. I have not seen it be big muscle, important to massage, but it is palpable right in the knee crease. You can palpate yours right now if you want. Find the head of your fibula, which of course is going to be on the lateral side of your leg, and it's going to, you can feel a smooth, round bone about the size of a nickel. And then if you palpate medial to that, between the heads of the gastrocnemius, there's a skinny little deep muscle on an angle. And so that's where that muscle is.
Now, can it be like a stabilizer?
Yeah, it could be a stabilizer too. I mean, yeah, right there that it's at the knee. So I appreciate all the thoughtful ideas there. Yeah, it could be all of those things.
It's tender in certain areas there.
Yeah.
When you palpate it.
Yes, it's likely to be tender in there. Yep. And that could be for various reasons. Not just your plantaris, but it's really common, right? Because muscles always have to cross joints, right? And they're acting over at least one joint. And so we have a lot of, crosses there of muscles, tendons, and fascia. And it's really common to get tightness and tenderness across joints and fascia. So, something to keep in mind for pretty much most of your massage techniques, right? All the way from Swedish, we would then compression, talking about crossing over the joint, because of those connections. So our plantaris, we're crossing the knee and the ankle from the back, and it goes right into the Achilles tendon. So this would make it a complete synergist to gastrocnemius, right? It can, because of that way that it crosses, it can plantar flex the ankle and flex the knee joint. But as we said, it's going to be weak at both of those jobs. Any questions while I move on to kind of our detailed slide here?
I have a question. What's unique about tendon? We have a question in our assignment.
It's the longest tendon.
Just long?
Yep. I mean, that's what I would say is the primary thing that's unique about it. I mean, it also goes into the Achilles tendon. So it merges into the Achilles tendon with gastrocnemius and soleus. All three of them share the same tendon. So, I mean, that's unique too, but I would say that the primary thing is that it's the longest. So here we, of course, these these pictures are from your textbook. So of course you can look along with us. I like to look at these different pictures where you could see, different muscles in relationship to each other. So here on the left, we see the part that we were just palpating, right? Where if you go between the heads of the gastrocnemius, in the knee crease, you can feel on an angle, an oblique angle, a little bit of plantaris. Here we see on the right, in relationship when gastrocnemius is removed, which is called reflected, we can see all of plantaris. I've outlined the belly, and then of course we have this long tendon. You can see that this tendon right here goes over soleus, which would be under gastroc, and then it, hard to draw with this, curves around and goes into the Achilles tendon. Some of you might have noticed and be curious about this even deeper muscle. So there is also a short muscle crossing in the other direction, popliteus, which is really too deep to palpate, but popliteus just unlocks the knee from an extended position. So questions on that? All right, I think the O, the I, and the A is pretty straightforward here, but let us get to those details. Oh, yes, and of course, here's our synergist page, right? We've got our plantar flexors, our strongest ones are gastroc and soleus. I think that's obvious from their size. And then the other muscles we're going to be looking at today are peroneals. You might have heard both of their names already. It can be a little confusing that they have two names. The peroneals are the ones that are currently in the new editions of the textbook called the fibular muscles or fibularis muscles, and used to be more commonly called peroneals. Both names are correct, but you should know both names. So looking at the O, the I, and the A, our origin is the lateral supracondylar line of the femur. And that is too deep to palpate. Where we palpated is right where we already did, right in the center between the heads of the gastroc. And then, of course, it inserts in the at the calcaneus via the calcaneal tendon. So the calcaneal tendon, right, is just another name for the Achilles tendon. I think Achilles tendon is the more common name, but calcaneal tendon, right, is named after its attachment at the calcaneus. And then we already talked about the actions of plantar flexion of the ankle, which is talocrural, and weak flexion of the knee tibiofemoral. So any questions on plantaris?
No.
Okay, great.